this answer. Jesus teaches us that he is the way to a loving, ongoing relationship with God. And no one can go to the Father except through him. This is what he comes to tell the people of the world. But you see, we are here today to look at the facts. We want to study and understand. Is this the truth? That is a good question. What is the truth? Well, truth is a noun, an abstract noun, which is difficult to understand sometimes. But we know that the truth is something which is true, correct, or right. So, is Jesus the truth? But he says I am. He says, I am the truth. Well, if Jesus is the truth for me, because I tell you that I have a new life in Christ. I have a fuller life now. I tell you that I don't chase the wind anymore. I tell you that I now have a personal relationship with God through Jesus Christ. I tell you that. It's the truth for Karen Hamade. It's the truth for my husband. It's the truth for my sons. So if it is the truth for me, then it must be the truth for everyone, because the truth is the truth. That's logic. C.S. Lewis, do you know this man? I think he became popular when his books were made into the movie, The Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah.
He became very popular. He is an amazing author, a professor of literature at Cambridge University. He started writing Chronicles of Narnia, and as you read through them, you know that he is really speaking about this one true living God and a loving, ongoing relationship with God through Christ. He's written many, many books. But like me, he chased the wind for most of his life. He didn't really hear the words of Jesus and understand them until he was in his 30s. This is what he says to us. C.S. Lewis says that if Jesus is not the truth, it is of no importance. Okay? If Jesus is not the truth, well, that's not important. He says, but if Jesus is the truth, if Jesus is the way to a loving, ongoing relationship with God, the only and true way of you finding happiness in life, C.S. Lewis says, then it is of infinite importance. You see? It's so important we cannot measure. But he says the one thing it cannot be is moderately important. You see? If Jesus is not the truth, then it doesn't matter. Who cares? You come here, you listen to this lecture. He's not the truth. You wasted some time. Doesn't matter. But if what I tell you today is true, it is of infinite importance for you. It's never moderately important. Is Jesus Christ the truth? And we will study the facts. In these 15 steps, we will look carefully at the facts. Is he the truth? Is his life the truth? Is his death the truth? And is the resurrection the truth? You see, when we read the words of Jesus, he tells us, he says, they will beat me and kill me, but 3 days later, I will rise from death. The killed and then rise from death 3 days later. Is that true? We need to study. We need to look at the facts, and you decide if it is the truth. You see, many great historians, men of law, and scientists in the world and throughout history say that Jesus Christ is the truth. My son is an attorney, a lawyer, and so he has helped me to understand the importance of looking for the truth. You must look at the facts. And you see, this man, Lord Darling, was the Chief Justice of England. He presided over the high courts of England. My son tells me, Mom, respect judges. They are men of wisdom. They are brilliant. And so this man, the Chief Justice over all the courts, what does he say? There is overwhelming evidence that the resurrection story is true. That Jesus Christ died and was raised from death 3 days later. Great historians say that it is true. Professor Thomas Arnold, who is the past chair of modern history at Oxford University, he says that Jesus is the truth. He says, I know of no one fact in the history of mankind proved by better and fuller evidence, facts, than the great sign that Christ died and rose again from the dead. Scientists say it's true. I have a short list here. Galileo, Copernicus, Pascal, Newton, Faraday, Mendel, Boyle, more and more and more of the pioneers of science, they say that Jesus Christ is the truth. It is of infinite importance for all mankind to hear these words and believe. Is there more evidence? We will look carefully at the facts. We will study the non-Christian history books to decide, is Jesus the truth? Jesus says, I am the truth. And for Westerners, we know the meaning of truth. Something that we study from a distance and we understand in our heads as the truth. For example, the Western understanding of truth. That's a tomato. Is that the truth? That's the truth. It is round. It is red. Mildly acidic, pulpy, and eaten raw or cooked. Okay, I know this is a tomato. That's the Greek or Western way of truth. Study something at a distance. But when Jesus Christ, a Jew, speaks, the meaning of truth is deeper. That's important for us to understand. What does that mean? The Hebrew understanding of truth is not studied at a distance, but tomato. That's a tomato. I know this is the truth because I have a personal experience. Jesus says, I am the truth. What does he mean by that? He means that you can know him personally, as experienced, because he rose from death and is alive today. And I say that is the truth because I have a relationship with Jesus Christ. I meet with him every morning. He talks to me during the day through his word. I am growing in my relationship with him every day. It's the truth. know someone, if I said to you, do you know Bill Clinton? Yeah, I know. Do you know Hillary Clinton? Yeah, I know. Okay. Do you know Ida Scarf-Hopkins? Have you heard of this woman? Her name is Ida Scarf-Hopkins. Do you know her? Well, I do. You see, I read this book. This is a book about her life. And I read it. And I know her. But you see, Ida Scarf-Hopkins is my grandmother. So I say I know her. I know her because she comes into my home and we sit down and we have tea together. See? We love each other. We share our lives with each other. That is to know someone. And Jesus says, I am the truth. You can experience a life with me. You see? Some people, they say, I study the Bible at a distance, and I know Jesus Christ. And I say to them, do you know him? Do you have a personal relationship with him? Because that's what he wants us to have. Knowing something in our heads is Western Greek. But to know something in our hearts, that's Jewish. That's the truth. I had one Korean student who looked at this picture and said, Karen, may I have this picture? Because this is what I want. I knew Jesus, but I want to know him. See? I want to meet with him, talk with him, walk with him. Jesus is with us. God with us, Emmanuel. He's with us, and he wants to teach us about this life on earth. He is my teacher. He is your teacher. He teaches me a great deal, and he understands our burden. This picture I chose because it looked like me, a woman carrying a burden. A burden is something that is carried, and it is very heavy, and it makes you tired. What was my burden? I chased the wind, but I also carried a burden. What was inside my burden?